cock-a-doodle-doo. Down in a holler we got ourselves a crew, building mighty molds out of junk and moonshine, turning scrap and old parts into something fine. Yodelay, cock-a-doodle-doo, hillbilly hero here for you, fixing and molding with a grin and a laugh, turning trash into treasure on our hillbilly path. Tim and Bill, they're the best in the land, making stuff that fits like a glove in your hand. From tractor parts to a boat made of tubs, they got the magic and a whole lot of love. Yodelay, cock-a-doodle-doo, hillbilly hero here for you, fixing and molding with a grin and a laugh, turning trash into treasure on our hillbilly path. With a yodel and a crow we build and we play, turning scrap into gold every single day. From dawn to dusk we're making something new, hillbilly pride in every mold we do. We're the hillbilly mold making crew, fixing, laughing, and dreaming too, turning junk into something just for you. Alright, Trigger, let me tell you about my two good hillbilly buddies. First off, we got Tim Nixon. He was the VP of Engineering, big boss man who makes sure all the gadgets and gizmos work just right. Then there's Bill Hamilton, the master of tooling. He's so good he can fix injection molding, tooling issues faster than you can say holler. All he has to do is lay his hands on that injection mold and bam, problem solved.
He's so talented, he's fixed up the most complicated injection molding processes in town. And he's got a knack for engineering and building molds that'll make your head spin.
Now these two hillbillies, they're known for project quotes that are the cheapest in town.
Dirt cheap, I tell ya.
Only if the customer don't have a fancy-dancy specification drawing do they go ahead and create a mold from scratch.
And let me tell ya, that ain't no easy feat, but these fellas make it look easy. They can craft and mold a perfect plastic part that fits on a car like it was made just for it.
No fuss, no issues, just a seamless fit and function like a glove on a hand.
They're so good, I swear they can mold a pig's ear into a pearl if you asked them.
Now these two hillbilly buddies, Tim and Bill, they had themselves a dream.
Oh, a mighty big dream, I tell you.
Build the perfect injection mold, not just any mold, no sir, but one so fine it'd make their names echo through the industry like a banjo screaming at a barn dance. They work day and night, rain or shine, with nothing but a jar of moonshine to keep their spirits high and their brains from turning to mush.
Now Bill, he's a master of fixing tooling issues faster than a squirrel can scurry up a tree. His secret? He just touches that injection mold and it's like he's casting a spell.
Problem solved. Folks around town said,
"You can't build a mold out of junk like that."
Pointing at the scrap metal they dragged in old tractor parts, broken plows, even a discarded wash machine motor.
They were all part of Bill's secret recipe.
Tim, he was the VP of Engineering, the brains behind the operation. He'd scribble plans on napkins,
dreaming of the day they'd make the biggest, baddest mold in the county.
They didn't got no fancy tools or shiny new machines, just grit, gumption, and a whole lot of elbow grease. They'd work late into the night chugging coffee, laughing at their own bad jokes, and dreaming of the day they'd be famous. And let me tell you,
their work paid off
they built a mold so slick and perfect that it could make a plastic part fit on a car like it was made for it.
No fuss, no bother.
Folks said, well, I'll be, that's the best mold this side of the Mississippi.
And Tim and Bill?
Well, they just tipped their hats, took a swig of moonshine and kept dreaming.
'Cause in their hearts they knew they'd done something special, built something that'd make the whole dang town proud. And maybe even get them a shiny medal or two if they ever got around to losing their mud boots and hanging up their welders.
Trigger, now I will tell you how these two hillbilly legends, Tim and Bill, how they went from a scrap heap to making the finest mold this side of the Mississippi. It all started with a blueprint so wrinkled and scribbled that it looked more like a chicken's doodle than real engineering. But that didn't bother Bill one bit.
Nope, he just took his trusty hammer, what he called his magic wand, and gave that their blueprint a good tap. And wouldn't you know it, that mold started working better than a pig in mud.
They machined and milled and polished that thing so much that even the town's barn cats,
curious as all get out, come gather round just to watch the show.
they'd be sitting on hay bales, licking their paws and staring at Bill, whacking that mold with his magic wand,
thinking maybe they'd learn some of his secret.
Every time they hit a snag, like a part that wouldn't eject properly or a plastic that refused to fill, Bill and Tim would just shrug, take a sip of their moonshine and say,
well, now we'll fix it, just wait and see.
After many long moons of tinkering and a few nights of singing the mold maker's blues around a campfire, they finally finished what they called the beast. A mold so slick, so perfect, it'd make a plastic part fit on a car like it was born there. They tested it, hold on to your britches, and wouldn't you know it worked like a charm. The part slid right into place, no squeals, no fuss, just smooth as butter on hot cornbread. They looked at each other, grinning so wide they could swallow their hats, and threw a big old barn dance to celebrate.
They played their favorite tune, the Mold Maker's Blues, on a fiddle and a washboard, and here's how the song went. Trigger got your dancing shoes.
Oh, we built a mold so mighty and fine, made it from scrap and a bit of moonshine. Now every plastic part fits just right, thanks to the hillbilly mold maker's might. Yodelay-hoo, cock-a-doodle-doo, we're the hillbilly mold making crew, turning junk into something new. They hammered and milled with a grin so wide, turned trash into treasure with a hillbilly pride. From dawn to dusk they worked and they played, now their mold's a star of the injection parade. Yodelay-hoo, cock-a-doodle-doo, if you need a mold just give us a shout, we'll build you something that's mighty stout. One guy said, hey there, watch this, y'all. He yodeled so high, he scared a cow in a stall. Then he shouted cock-a-doodle-doo loud and clear, made the whole barnyard start to cheer.
Yodelay-hoo,
Cock-a-doodle-doo,
we got the skills and a laugh or two. Hillbilly molders, that's what we do.
so next time you need something made from plastic, call us hillbillies, our work's fantastic. With a yodel and a crow we'll get it done, and make you smile for the day is spun.
Yodelay-hoo,
Cock-a-doodle-doo,
hillbilly mold makers proud and true, making funny stuff just for you. Hillbilly mold makers proud and true, making funny stuff just for you.
Trigger, let me tell you, that's how Tim and Bill went from just some hillbilly boys messing around to full-blown legends in the industry after their big old barn dance celebration for the beast They got themselves a shiny new trophy, what the industry folks call the Golden Nozzle Award. Now this here ain't no ordinary prize, it's the kind that makes folks stand up and holler, well, I'll be. Them hillbillies done it. And wouldn't you know it, folks from all over the country started coming just to lay eyes on their masterpiece. They travel miles and miles, some even hitchhike on cows if they had to see how two good old boys with nothing but scrap metal, a dream, and a whole lot of moonshine made the finest injection mold ever seen by man or beast. Industry bigwigs, folks with fancy degrees and shiny suits, couldn't believe their eyes. They'd scratch their heads and say, well, I never thought a couple hillbilly rascals could build something so perfect. It's like they got magic in their hands, and maybe they do. From that day on, every time someone asked about perfection in injection molding, folks would tip their hats, tip their beer mugs, and say, that's the work of Tim and Bill, hillbilly heroes of the industry. Yep, they turned them scrap piles into gold, and her story became the stuff of legend. Tales told round campfires at county fairs, and even in fancy boardrooms where folks try to act all serious but secretly tip their hats. And that, Trigger, is how two good old boys with nothing but grit, gumption, and a whole lot of fiddling made their mark by fixing, forcing, and fiddling their way into injection mold history. Their legend's so big now, even the barn cats are starting to wear little medals, 'cause they know who really made the town proud. Tim and Bill, the hillbilly heroes, who prove that sometimes all you need is a pile of junk and a dream to make something truly legendary. Well, pull up a stump and grab a jar of the good stuff, 'cause we're about to tell the full tale of the shop floor legend. Well, the big city boys got the Cade in their labs with their laser-guided robots and fancy label tabs. But down in the hollow where the creek runs cold, the hillbilly makers are breaking the mold. The base is a bumper from a 7-4 truck, the cavity's car with a prayer and some luck. They measured the gates with a rusty old nail and cooled it with water from a moonshine pail. Oh, we built a mold so mighty and fine, made it from scrap and a bit of moonshine. Now every plastic part fits just right, thanks to the hillbilly mold maker's might. Old Cletus, he's peering through bifocal glass, adjusting the nozzle to give it some gas. The heater band's smoking like a wood-burning stove, but it's pumping out parts in a shimmering grove. The parting line's wiggly as a copperhead snake, but as tight as the crust on a blackberry cake. If the ejector pin stick, don't you worry, fuss, just hit it with WD-40 and trust in the us. Oh, we built the mold so mighty and fine, made it from scrap and a bit of moonshine. Now every plastic part fits just right, thanks to the hillbilly mold maker's might. The boss from the city came down for a peek. He looked at the flash and he turned rather weak. He said, where's the sensors, where's the PLC? Cletus said, son, just watch and you'll see. He cranked up the pressure, the press gave a groan. It birthed a new widget the world's never known. It's shiny, it's sturdy, it's hillbilly gold. The star of the parade is this junk metal mold. Oh, we built the mold so mighty and fine, made it from scrap and a bit of moonshine. Now every plastic part fits just right, thanks to the hillbilly mold maker's might. Watch your fingers, Zeke. That nozzle's hotter than a jalapeno in a sauna.
Now King Tim Nixon sits high on his throne. A modified forklift he claims as his own. He rules o'er the scrap pile of grease-covered hand, the finest dang monarch in all of the land. Then there's Bill Hamilton, steady and slow. He knows where the resin and hydraulic oils flow. He can smell a bad batch from a country mile out. Too much moisture, you'll hear the man shout. But when the press shutters and the gauges go red and the bolts start to rattle like they're filled up with lead, we call for great Amer, the god of the machine, the best dirt mechanic that you've ever seen. He whispers to valves and he tickles the gears and settles the rattling and all of our fears. But disaster struck Tuesday, a day of dark gloom, when a clog in the sprue sounded like a sonic boom. The nozzle got plugged with a rogue bottle cap, and the molten hot plastic turned into a trap. It backed up the barrel and hissed like a cat, then sprayed out the side like a pressurized rat. Zeke dove for the floor while the hopper went dry, and a cloud of burnt nylon reached up to the sky. Oh, we built a mold so mighty and fine, made it from scrap and a bit of moonshine. Now every plastic part fits just right, thanks to the Hillbilly mold maker's might.
Yodelay-oo, cock-a-doodle-doo. Now let me tell you, it gets funnier too. Well, the big city boys got their fancy tech toys with their carrot in their labs and their shiny new joys. But down in the holler where the critters all play, the Hillbilly mold makers do it their way, with a yee-haw and a yodel and a cock-a-doodle-doo. We building them molds in a way you never knew. The base is a bumper from a 7-meat-fork truck. The cavity's carved with a prayer and some luck. They measured the gates with a rusty old nail and cooled it with water from a moonshine pail. Yodelay-oo and a cock-a-doodle-doo. We got ourselves a mold and it's funny too. Old Cletus peering through bifocal glass, adjusting the nozzle to give it some gas. He hollers, dang, that heater's hotter than a flame, but it's pumping out parts like a wild mountain dame. With a yodel and a squawk and a cock-a-doodle-doo, we making plastic parts that'll tickle you. The parting line's as wiggly as a copperhead snake, but it's tight as a crust on a blackberry cake. If them ejector pins get stuck, don't you fret or fuss. Just spray them with WD-40 and give them a bust. A yodel-you and a cock-a-doodle-doo. We got ourselves a mold and it's funny too. Now here comes King Tim, sitting high on his throne. A forklift for a crown he claims as his own. He rules o'er the scrap pile with a greasy old grin, the funniest king that you ever did see, kin. And Bill Hamilton, slow as molasses in June, knows where the resin flows in the hydraulic tune. He sniffs out a bad batch from a mile away. Too much moisture, he shouts, clear as day. Yodel-yodel-yodel-o and a cock-a-doodle-doo. We got ourselves a mold and it's funny too. But then disaster struck on a dark, gloomy day, when a clog in the sprue went kablooey-ing away. The nozzle got plugged with a rogue bottle cap, and the plastic turned into a big old trap. The barrel hissed like a cat, and the plastic did spray like a volcano erupting in a wild mountain way. Zeke hit the deck while the hopper went dry, and burnt nylon clouds reached up to the sky. Oh, we built a mold so mighty and grand, thanks to hillbilly skills in this here land. Yodelay-oo, cock-a-doodle-doo. We buildin', laughing, just me and you.
Well, reckon Tim Nixon and Bill Hamilton done pinned a hillbilly's guide to injection success. But I tell you, it's more like a how-to on making something work right without blowing the barn down.
First off, make sure you turn it on. Tell the neighbors to unplug their refrigerators for a minute.
Bolt that sucker in tight if you ran out of grade 8 bolts. 3 grade 5s and a prayer will usually hold her. If you see a gap in the parting line, don't go looking for a shim. Just smear some axle grease on the edges and call it a die none and seal.
We don't use those fancy digital readouts. Spit on the barrel if it sizzles like a strip of bacon. She's ready to inject if it turns to purple smoke. Back off the dial a hair if the plastic looks like oatmeal. Add more moonshine to the cooling bucket.
Troubleshooting the big clog if the sprue gets stuck. Do not use a torch right away. Give it a good whack with a rubber mallet. If that don't work, get Bill Hamilton to stare at it real mean like usually. The plastic gets scared and pops right out.
Safety glasses are highly encouraged, especially if you still have both eyes. If the machine starts screaming, scream back louder to assert dominance.
Now gather around the scrap pile, boys, and pull your goggles tight. For the story of the day, the sun was choked right out of light. 'Twas the summer of 24, the humidity was thick, when the pressure relief valve gave a final fatal tick.
Bill Hamilton was loading resin, King Tim was on the throne, when the barrel gave a gurgle and a low unearthly moan.
The great Tastic flood began with a whistle and a pop, and a wave of molten nylon started swallowing the shop.
It flowed over the tool bench, it encased the office chair. It hung like glowing icicles in Cletus's chest hair.
The hopper kept on feeding though we pulled the master switch, creating a 10-ton HDP mountain in the ditch. We couldn't stop the tide until the god of the machine,
Old Amer, dove into the mess, the bravest thing we've seen.
he wrestled with the screw while the floor was turning slick,
And plugged the leak with nothing but a charred hickory stick.
the Hillbilly limited liability and such.
By holding this here plastic widget, you agree that we ain't responsible for nothing. If it snaps, cracks, pops, or melts onto your dashboard, that's between you and your mighty our lifetime warranty lasts exactly as long as it takes for your truck to pull out of the gravel driveway.
If this part fails and causes a ruckus, don't go calling no lawyers in suits.
We don't have no money and the dog bites use at your own risk. Keep away from open flames, and if it starts making a high-pitched whistling sound, set it down and run the other way.
God of the machine, the hydraulic oil hums a hymn just for him.
As he walks through the shadows where the shop lights are dim, with a wrench in his pocket and grease on his brow, he's the only one living who knows why and how. He don't need no blueprints, he don't need no chart. He hears the metallic beat of the press's cold heart. When the motor is seized and the gears start to scream, Amer's the one who can settle the steam. A touch on the manifold, a twist of the lead, he brings back the ghosts of the machines we thought dead. So raise up your jars to the man at the wheel, the god of the pistons,
the prophet of steel.
injection inspection jig.
It starts with a fiddle, screaming like a banshee, like a dry old baron's crying for mercy, yes sirree. It's high-pitched and squealing like a hog in a trap, sounding like my Aunt Bess's old rusty tap. Oh, we're dancing to the injection inspection, feeling like a critter caught in a racket with banjos, a finger picking double time, clinking and clanking like a junkyard rhyme. Comes the banjo, finger picking wild, twice as fast as a squirrel on a pedal child. It's a frenzy of widgets hitting metal with a clang like a barnyard full of chickens doing their gang. Oh, we're dancing to the injection inspection, feeling like a critter caught in a racket with banjos, a finger picking double time, clinking and clanking like a junkyard rhyme. Then there's the bass, thumping like a hydraulic ram. Thump hiss, it's a mighty fine jam. Keeps the heartbeat rolling like a train on the track. You'd swear old Big Joe's got a rhythm attack. And the mandolin, oh, it's spinning so fast like a fan at 10,000 RPMs. You know that's a blast. And we all stop on a dime with a big old clunk when the mold opens up and we all go yee-haw. Chunk. Y'all hold on to your overalls and grab a tall glass of sweet tea. We're stretching this story out as long as a summer's day at sea, with more yodels, more roosters, and plenty of laughs. This here inspection tale's got more twist than a mountain's pass. Yodel-a-hee-hoo. We start with a mole looking for cracks and bumps. If it's got a wart or a crooked trunk, we send it packing faster than a possum in a tree, 'cause a mole that's crooked ain't worth a hill of beans. Cock-a-doodle-doo. Then comes the fade, the first article inspection, checking that sample with a mighty fine precision. If it's got sink marks or a flow line that's crooked, we toss it out quicker than a chicken in a bucket. Yeehaw! In the middle of the melt and the pour, we got sensors and gadgets galore. Pressure sensors squeal and temp guns go beep, keeping our parts from turning into junk heap. Yodel-a-hee-hoo.
During the run we got eyes like hawks, no flaw is safe from our eagle's watch. Warp, sink marks, or a bubble sneaking in, we catch 'em all faster than a hound chasing a kin. Cock-a-doodle-doo. Tools we got from calipers to CMMs, laser scanners and opticals, oh my, oh my. Measuring to the thousandth and then some more, ensuring our parts are the best in the store. Pressure test them till they squeal or crack, we push them till they can't take it back. Ultrasound and x-ray look inside with glee, finding flaws that hide in the deepest sea. Yodel-ee-hoo. Destructive tests, we beat them till they cry, pull them, stretch them, see if they fly. Tensile strength, that's what we aim to test, 'cause if they break, we know it's a big old mess. Cock-a-doodle-doo. Non-destructive methods like ultrasonic hums, detecting cracks before the breaking comes. Optical comparators, big old magnifying eyes, make sure every part's a perfect prize. Machine vision, oh what a sight, robots and cameras doing it right, spotting flaws with a blink and a beep, no sneaky defects gonna get past our leap. Yodel-ee-hoo. Advanced tools from Zeiss to Sapar help us find errors that are bizarre. Augmented reality, strain measuring too, help us keep our quality shiny and new. Yee-haw! Now standards and procedures, we got them in line. SAPUP's audits, almighty fine. Continuous improvement, that's our tune. Fix it quick, morning, night, and noon. Cock-a-doodle-doo. If we catch a defect, we don't just shrug, we fix it faster than a bug in a rug. Refine the process, sharpen our saw, 'cause making good parts is our biggest law. Yodel-ee-hoo. Now let's talk about the folks who do the inspecting with magnifying glasses and a keen eyes, winning from the boss in the office to the guy in the shop. We all work together from bottom to top. Yee-haw! Got a defect? Well, don't you worry none, we'll find it, fix it, and then have some fun. Laugh at the silly things that sometimes go wrong, 'cause inspection's a party and it's during all day long. Yodel-ee-hoo. And when the day's done and the parts are all set, we give them a look and we place our bet that every single piece is built to last, 'cause quality, my friend, is a thing of the past. Yee-haw! From the first mold to the final check, we keep it honest, keep it in spec, with a holler and a chuckle and a big old grin. Inspection's our game and we sure do win. Yodel-ee-hoo. So here's the long and the short of our tale about making sure parts don't go awry or fail. With a laugh and a cheer and a hillbilly tune, we keep the quality rolling like a full moon. Yee-haw! Now tip your hat and give a mighty cheer. Inspection's a heart, loud and clear, with yodels and roosters and a belly full of glee. We keep making parts, that's the best you'll see. Yodel-ee-hoo. King Tim Nixon's inauguration speech, delivered from the seat of a 1962 Hister forklift. Friends, hillbillies, and Amer gather round. They said we couldn't make precision aerospace grade polymers out of melted milk jugs and old fishing line. They said a mold held together with seat clamps and chewing gum was a safety hazard.
Well, look at me now, I accept this crown which Bill Hamilton rightfully fashioned from a scrap cooling coil. Not for myself, but for every man here who's ever been told his jerry-rigging was illegal.
From this day forward, the parting line shall be straightish, the flash shall be minimal, and the moonshine break shall be moved to 2 p.m. Now someone get me a Slim Jim and crank up the heater bands. The kingdom is open for business. Well, gather round, y'all hillbillies and kin, got a tale about how we did it again. They said we couldn't make no fancy stuff out of milk jugs and line, it was tough.
Yodel-ee-hoo, cock-a-doodle-doo.
We built this thing with a whole lot of glue.
From seat clamps holding on to a dream and some chewing gum to make it gleam.
Oh, we're the kings of the hillbilly spree. turning trash into high-tech yesery. They said it's unsafe, a real hazard too. But look at us now, we made something new. Yodelay,
cock-a-doodle-doo,
yodelay, cock-a-doodle-doo, yodelay, go, yo, yo, go, yo, yo, yodelay.
Bill Hamilton, he's our hero today. Scrapped a coil and made a crown, hooray!
Not for himself, but for every old boy who's been told his rigging's just plain toy. From moonshine breaks at 2 p.m. sharp to making parts with a rusty old jar.
We got the skills and we got the grit. Ain't no fancy tech that we can't spit.
Oh, we're the kings of the hillbilly spree, turning trash into high-tech yesery. They said it's unsafe, a real hazard too. But look at us now, we made something new. Yodelay, cock-a-doodle-doo, yodelay, cock-a-doodle-doo, yodelay, go, yodelay, go, yodelay, yodelay. Straight lines, minimal flash, oh yeah. Moonshine break it too, we don't care. Someone hand me a Slim Jim quick and crank up them heater bands real slick.
Now the kingdom's open, come and see a hillbilly empire, wild and free.
No more fear of the illegal rig, we're taking over big old gigs. So tip your hat and raise your mug to the folks who give a big old shrug.
We're inventing with a country twist and having fun, can't resist.
Oh, we're the kings of the hillbilly spree, turning trash into high-tech yesery. They said it's unsafe, a real hazard too. But look at us now, we made something new. Yodelay,
Cock-a-doodle-doo,
yodelay,
cock-a-doodle-doo.
yodelay, do, 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 yodelay. So remember this story loud and clear. Hillbilly engineers,
Far and near,
we ain't got much, but what we do with a laugh and a yodel or two. Yodelay,
cock-a-doodle-doo,
yodelay,
cock-a-doodle-doo.
yodelay, yo, 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 yodelay.
Well, now y'all better listen up, 'cause I got a tale for you about old Tim, that hillbilly feller. He was hollering from the other end of the shop, looking like he was a coyote chasing a sheep across the dang shop floor. I tell you, he had that look in his eye like he was planning a sheep napping scheme, but really he was just hollering to Bill, that good old boy.
Yodelay,
Tim hollered loud enough to wake the chickens and spook the barn cats. Then he shouts, cock-a-doodle-doo, hey! Bill, we need a shipping label and some handle instructions pronto. The cow's got the hiccups and the injection mold's acting up again.
now Bill, he's scratching his head with a wrench in one hand and a spatula in the other, looking just as confused as a squirrel in a dog show. But he says,
Alrighty, Tim, I'll get right on it. Just hold your horses and I'll have that label faster than a hound dog chasing a rabbit.
and all the while the chickens are clucking and the pigs are snorting, and it's just another day in the hillbilly shop of chaos and fun.
Tim hollered from the end of the shop, looked like a coyote chasing a crop. Yodelay, he yelled with glee, Bill, we need the label quick as can be. Oh, we're singing hillbilly tunes underneath the bright full moon. Ship it out and handle with care. In our shop we got stories to share. Cock-a-doodle-doo and hee-haw too. Bill scratching his head, what's he gonna do? Got a tractor running wild and free. In this hillbilly shop, that's just how we be. Oh, we're singing hillbilly tunes underneath the bright full moon. Ship it out and handle with care. In our shop we got stories to share. So next time you hear a holler and a call, know it's just Tim and Bill having a ball, living life the hillbilly way, with a song in their hearts and a smile every day.
The official shipping labels in the Holler Dime Precinct, tooling and tastic works. Deep Woods, Appalachia, whoever paid cash up front.
Don't ask no questions,
Main Street, big city.
400 widgets,
3 lost ejector pin springs.
the lingering scent of hickory smoke and 90 weight gear oil.
Don't drop them, they might bounce into the next county.
If they start to smell like burned hair, spray them with a garden hose.
If the crate ain't there by Tuesday, check the bottom of the creek near the covered bridge.
The ballad of the EPA inspector's retreat.
A man in a suit with a clipboard and pen ventured down deep to the hillbilly's den. He had a gold badge and a look of dismay.
I'm here to inspect your emissions today. He looked at the hopper, he looked at the vent. He asked where the chemical runoff all went. King Tim Nixon pointed to a hole in the floor, and the man from the city, he started to roar. But then Amer stepped up with a wrench in his hand, while Bill Hamilton whispered, "You don't understand."
The machine gave a belch of a neon green cloud, and the god of the machine started laughing out loud.
The inspector repelled and he dropped his clipboard as the mold gave a hiss like a dragon's own sword. He scrambled for safety, he tripped on a tire while the hillbillies cheered, set the nozzle on fire. He jumped in his Prius and peeled out of sight, leaving dust and a badge in the pale moonlight. He'll never come back to the shop in the glen. The hillbillies won, and they're molding again.
Tim Nixon patent application number dome won't shine. Invention titled a triple distilled cryogenic thermal exchange unit. Amer King Tim Nixon, Bill Hamilton, field of invention.
A cooling system for injection molding that utilizes the high-proof evaporation rates of local corn-based spirits to prevent thermal runaway. Detailed description, water-cooled towers are for city folk. This invention uses a copper coil submerged in a 55-gallon drum of 180 proof moonshine. The high alcohol content ensures the mold stays happy and the operators stay calm.
In the event of a system leak, the coolant is 100% biodegradable and may be consumed.
Strains a one-er method for cooling steel tools, using nothing but high-test Mountain Dew. A secondary feature where the exhaust fumes make the entire shop smell like a Saturday night bonfire.
3-year guarantee that if the mold explodes, it'll at least be spectacular.
Executive predictors, King Tim Nixer, stun quarter raiders, club-elated, seep coiler raiders, gonzo filer, day, post-tickle images, special links to
The 1974 Ford F-150 bumper, the local hardware store.
for not asking why we needed that much. Double BD it, I'm much.
Filmed on location at the Big Holler workshop, but one shop cat is now permanently 25% and shredded denim overalls for reinforcement. Bill Hamilton acted as the naval architect, using a crayon to draw a hull design on the side of a rusted refrigerator.
They dug a boat-shaped hole in the red clay bank and lined it with greased-up trash bags. They lay up the leaf blower to a vat of sticky resin to spray the fiberglass. The wind shifted and now Zeke's dog Buster is officially waterproof.
The propulsion, a modified lawnmower engine connected to a ceiling fan blade. The launch was a spectacle. The porcelain queen hit the water with the grace of a falling anvil. She displaced so much water she practically emptied the creek. But thanks to Amer's godlike welding, she stayed bone dry inside.
Tim Nixon patent application number dome one shine. Invention titled a triple distilled cryogenic thermal exchange unit. Amer King Tim Nixon, Bill Hamilton, field of invention.
A cooling system for injection molding that utilizes a high-proof evaporation rates of local corn-based spirits to prevent thermal runaway. Detailed description, water-cooled towers are for city folk. This invention uses a copper coil submerged in a 55-gallon drum of 180 proof moonshine. The high alcohol content ensures the mold stays happy and the operators stay calm.
In the event of a system leak, the coolant is 100% biodegradable and may be consumed.
Strains one-er method for cooling steel tools, using nothing but high-test Mountain Dew. A secondary feature where the exhaust fumes make the entire shop smell like a Saturday night bonfire.
3-year guarantee that if the mold explodes, it'll at least be spectacular.
Executive predictors, King Tim Nixers, stun quarterators, club-elated, seep correlators, gone so fire date, plus tickle images, special links to
The 1974 Ford F-150 bumper, the local hardware store.
for not asking why we needed that much. Double BD it, how much?
Filmed on location at the big Holler workshop, but one shop cat is now permanently 25% and shredded denim overalls for reinforcement. Bill Hamilton acted as the naval architect, using a crayon to draw a hull design on the side of a rusted refrigerator.
They dug a boat-shaped hole in the red clay bank and lined it with greased-up trash bags. They lay up the leaf blower to a vat of sticky resin to spray the fiberglass. The wind shifted and now Zeke's dog Buster is officially waterproof.
The propulsion, a modified lawnmower engine connected to a ceiling fan blade. The launch was a spectacle. The porcelain queen hit the water with the grace of a falling anvil. She displaced so much water she practically emptied the creek. But thanks to Amer's godlike welding, she stayed bone dry inside.
The international order, word of the hillbilly prowess across the border. A farmer in the next county ordered 50 indestructible fence posts. Since they didn't have a permit for inter-county commerce, they loaded the posts into a flatbed pulled by King Tim's long tractor convoy. Customs crossing, they had to bribe the neighbor's goat with a bag of corn to let him through the back pasture gate. They traded the 50 posts for a crate of heirloom tomatoes, a functional radiator, and a voucher for a future pig roast. Safety training video.
Don't be a Zeke.
Alright, listen up, recruits. You see Zeke over there? The one with the singed eyebrows and the purple thumb. Don't be him. If a pipe is glowing cherry red, don't grab it to see if it's warm. Use a stick. If the stick catches fire, the pipe is ready.
Safety goggles are great, but if you can't find them, just squint real hard when the sparks start flying. It's called the Appalachian blink.
If the resin smells like almonds, that's fine. If it smells like your childhood memories fading away, put a fan on and step outside for a minute.
Keep your ponytails and loose flannel tucked in the guide of the machine. Don't take kindly to being fed human fabric. He prefers Tendonia 30 and the occasional hex nut.
The shop is humming. The international order came in vile carrier pigeon.
A high society cattle rancher from the next county over, a place where they actually paved their driveways, wanted 20 custom hillbilly bollards to keep teenagers from mudding in his prize clover.
The great border crossing, the journey was treacherous to reach the next county. The boys had to navigate the Devil's Elbow, a stretch of road so curvy it makes a snake look straight.
Then convoy.
King Tim Nixon led the way on his throne, followed by a rusted out El Camino loaded so heavy with plastic bollards that the front tires barely touched the gravel.
The customs agent, they were stopped at the county line by a deputy who asked for their commercial hauling permit. Bill Hamilton handed him a crumpled up fast food bag with "We are doing business" written in charcoal.
The Brer reached into the glove box and pulled out a jar of premium clear. The deputy sniffed it, his eyes watered, then he told him to get that heap out of here before the sun sets.
The delivery and the contract, the rancher was waiting at his white picket gate. He looked at the bollards, which were clearly made from melted down milk jugs and old Lego bricks inside.
They were bright orange, slightly lumpy, and smelled faintly of sour milk and burnt hair. Amer promised they were harder than a tax auditor's heart.
Instead of a post hole digger, Zeke used a stick of dynamite and a bucket of water. The resulting craters were twice the size needed, but the bollards were certainly settled.
Since the rancher didn't have enough city money, the deal was finalized with a handshake and a trade for
one semi-functional chainsaw, a bushel of peaches, a promise that the boys wouldn't come back for at least 6 months. The legend grows. The boys returned to the Holler as international tycoons. King Tim Nixon declared that since they had exported goods across the creek, they were now a global conglomerate. Down in the Holler we crossed the creek, bribed a goat with corn, oh, we're quite the sneak. Trade a pig roast and a busted chainsaw. We're hillbilly tycoons, y'all, yes sir, all. Since the rancher didn't have enough city money, the deal was finalized with a handshake and a trade for one semi-functional chainsaw,
a bushel of peaches,
a promise that the boys wouldn't come back for at least 6 months. The legend grows. The boys returned to the Holler as international tycoons. King Tim Nixon declared that since they had exported goods across the creek, they were now a global conglomerate. Hey, bribed a goat with corn, oh, we're quite the sneak. Trade a pig roast and a busted chainsaw. We're hillbilly tycoons, y'all, yes sir, all.
Down in the holler we got us a tale about fence posts and goats and a big old sail. Crossing the Miller's Creek on a flatbed truck, King Tim on his lawnmower, you better duck.
Hey, yodelay-hoo, cock-a-doodle-doo.
We crossed the border, made a deal or two with heirloom tomatoes and our radiators too. Bribed a neighbor goat with some crackling corn. Led us through the pasture, we'll be back at dawn. Trade 50 posts for a pig roast voucher, making hillbilly history, we're the county's conqueror.
Hey, yodelay-hoo, cock-a-doodle-doo.
From the devil's elbow to the county line, we're selling bullards that smell like sour milk and pie.
Amer with his wrench, he said, don't be a Zeke, don't touch red hot pipes or you'll be crying weak. Safety goggles, nah, squint real tight. It's the Appalachian blink, partner, hold on tight.
Hey, yodelay-hoo, cock-a-doodle-doo.
We're the international hillbilly crew, exporting junk, making something new. On the border, Bill's crow flew high with crackers for training. He's the bird in the sky. Deputy sniffed premium clear, got tears in his eyes. Get that heap out of here before the sun says goodbye.
Hey, yodelay-hoo, cock-a-doodle-doo.
They made a deal with a handshake and a grin. One busted chainsaw, peaches a promise to not come in.
Now the boys are legends, global and grand. Turned a simple holler into a far-off land. So next time you hear a crow caw at dawn, remember the Hillbilly boys who got their hustle on.
Hey, yodelay-hoo, cock-a-doodle-doo. Hey, yodelay-hoo, cock-a-doodle-doo.
Safety training video script for new shop recruits. Scene opens with a shaky handheld camera. The lens is smudged with what looks like bacon grease. The background hum of a struggling hydraulic pump is deaf in Amer. The god of the machine stands in front of a sputtering press, wearing a wife beater and a welding mask pushed up like a crown.
All right, listen up, you soft-handed recruits. You're in the big holler now, this ain't some fancy factory where they give you plugs and brakes. If you want to keep all 10 fingers, pay attention to the hillbilly code of conduct.
When the nozzle is a lever, Amer points a greasy wrench at the injection unit. This here nozzle is hotter than a copperhead in a forest fire. If you touch it to see if it's on, you won't have a fingerprint left to sign your paycheck. Use the spit method if it dances and hisses, stay back.
Zeke is shown standing near the mold. Suddenly a spring snaps and flies past his ears. Zeke doesn't flinch, he just blinks.
If the ejector pins get sticky, don't go poking your hand in there like you're reaching for the last biscuit. Use a reach around stick, that's a 4-foot piece of rebar Bill Hamilton found in the creek. If the machine bites the rebar, better it than your arm.
The camera pans to a leaking hose held together with duct tape and a zip tie. If a hydraulic line starts whistling a tune, that's the machine telling you to run. High pressure oil can cut through a boot quicker than a chainsaw through butter.
If you see a mist, don't breathe it in. It'll turn your insides into a plastic loop.
For a mad protocol, Amer leans into the camera looking deadly serious.
If the god of the machine is cussing, you should be running. If I'm quiet and staring at a valve, don't speak to me. If I start praying, call your mama and tell her you love her, 'cause the shop's about to become a crater.
Tucking them flannels if the screw catches your sleep. You're gonna become a part of the next international order. And for the love of King Tim, don't wear flip-flops, molten nylon on a bare toe. is a pain that'll make a grown man sing soprano in the church choir.
Amer pulls a welding mask down the machine, gives a violent thunk, and a cloud of purple smoke fills the frame.
Amer muffled, now get to work. That bathtub boat ain't gonna mold itself.
Now screen fades to black with a final text card.
Days with iodinine's intended read 4-5. Official injury and incident report. Holler out Plashpit workshop 4.
Be bright, mash it up, bright not die.
Was a fair swan above banter mold, the lather point and burr stick, while the press was under full clamp pressure. When the mold his seek mistook the sound for a stray cat and reached in with a sandwich to tame it.
List of sustained ailments, the nylon glove. Left hand is currently encased in a 1/4-inch layer of coolant HDP. It is shaped like a lobster claw. It is permanent till the weekend.
Lost the right eyebrow during the spit test on the nozzle. Claimed he didn't need a pair anyway.
The gear tooth tattoos caught in the coolant fan shirt is gone.
Zeke now has a decorative grease pattern on his shoulder that looks like the state of Kentucky.
Treatment administered.
Bill Hamilton poured a cup of lukewarm creek water on the molten hand.
Applied a thick layer of black salve and some WD-40 to loosen the joints.
2 pulls from the coolant jar. Patient reported feeling
no pain and a little bit of purple.
Supervisor's comments.
Zeke showed great initiative by not dying.
He's a fast learner, mostly because the machine keeps hitting him when he's slow. He's back on the line now, using his new plastic claw to scrape the flash off the widgets.
Efficiency is up 4%.
Move the sandwich station away from the injection unit. Tell Zeke that hissing usually means danger, not kitty.
Well, the resin's hot and the pressure's high. Don't you look that nozzle in the eye. If you leave the shop with your fingers tin, you're a hero till the shift begins again. Keep your flannels down, get your dose time tight. Noble work and tread, they're blowing live. If the machine needs to blow and the force starts to shin, just remember every week you guys are less kitted tin.
Safety fast repair, just don't touch nothing in the shine.
Sing King Tim Nixon is sitting on his throne, a forklift with a velvet blanket thrown over the seat. He is holding a clipboard made from a piece of plywood. A group of nervous recruits stands in front of him, surrounded by piles of smoking plastic scrap.
King Tim Nixon hollered.
All right, settle down. Put that cigarette out, Zeke. You're standing next to the propane. Welcome to the Holler Dying Human Resources. Orientation, I'm King Tim, and I handle the human part of the resources, mostly because Amer refuses to talk to anyone who doesn't smell like geared oil.
Your starting pay is 3 hams a month, and all the reject widgets you can carry if you work. Through the winter you get heat benefits, which means you're allowed to stand within 3 feet of the injection barrel when it's below 0 outside.
We don't have no mediation or peer reviews here. If you got a problem with Bill Hamilton, you take it up with him behind the barn. Winner gets a better lunch spot, loser has to clean the dross out of the hopper for a week. If you got a problem with me, remember I own the forklift.
You get 1 day off a year, and that's the first day of deer season. If you're sick, we got a first aid kit in the back. It's an old fishing tackle box filled with duct tape, a bottle of iodine, and a cleanish rag.
If you can't walk, you can sit and trim the flash off the parts. For diversity inclusion, we don't care where you're from, as you ain't an EPA inspector in a clever disguise. We welcome all kinds, folks who can weld, folks who can haul, and folks who are fast enough to jump out of the way when a hydraulic seal blows.
Don't harass the machines. Amer has spent 10 years building a relationship with that press, and she's temperamental. If you cuss at the machine, she'll shoot a molten sprue at your head. Respect the steel, and the steel might let you live till Friday.
Any questions? No? Good Zeke, give them their employee handbooks. They're printed on the back of old moonshine labels. Now get to the line, we got an order of bathtub boats due by sundown.
The sun sets low, the smoky ridge, past the rusted gate and the wooden bridge. The press gives a sigh as the lights grow dim in the kingdom ruled by old King Tim.
Bill's counting widgets by the flickering spark, while Amer hears the spirits in the quiet dark. He pats the barrel of the iron beast and thanks the God of the machine at least. Zeke's got a hand made of orange glow plastic, a permanent glove that's mighty fantastic. He waves it proud as the moon starts to climb, the star of the show at the end of the line. Oh, they took the junk and they made it gold, with a hillbilly heart and a scrap metal mold. From the bathtub boats to the bollard pride, they're taking the world for a redneck ride. So raise up a jar to the grit and the grease, in the hollow where the whir never will cease. The parade moves on through the mud and the pine. Long live the makers of the moonshine line.
The parade moves on through the mud and the pine. Long live the makers of the moonshine line.
Amer biography. Amer wasn't born so much as he was assembled from spare parts and high-octane intent. According to Holler legend, his first cry sounded remarkably like a cold engine turning over, and he was holding a 10mm socket before he could walk.
The early years, Amer grew up in the shadow of a rusted sawmill, learning to speak machine before he spoke English. While other kids played with sticks, Amer was shimming valves and timing pistons. He earned the title God of the Machine at age 12, when he fixed a seized tractor using nothing but a gum wrapper and a firm command.
The philosophy of steel. Amer doesn't use blueprints, he listens to the vibration of the floorboards. He believes every piece of industrial equipment has a soul, and most of them are cranky and prone to spite.
His primary tools include a persuader, a 3-pound hammer with a hickory handle.
The sight, the ability to see a hydraulic leak before it actually happens.
A low-frequency hum, he directs at stalling motors to shame them back into service.
The Holler Dyne era. Since joining King Tim Nixon's crew, Amer has become the mechanical glue holding the operation together. He is the only human being capable of making a 50-year-old injection press run on a mixture of used fryer grease and Mountain Dew.
The silent fix once repaired a blown manifold by staring at it until it felt uncomfortable and sealed itself.
Invented the moonshine injection system after a radiator exploded during a heat wave.
Successfully extracted Zeke from a cooling fan without stopping production.
If it's broke, he's just waiting for a better idea. If it ain't broke, you ain't running it hard enough.
This blueprint is hand-sketched on the back of a greasy pizza box with a carpenter's pencil.
It represents Amer's masterpiece, the system that saved the shop during the great heat wave.
One main component,
The heat exchanger, a 40-foot coil of copper tubing, salvaged from a moonshine still, wrapped tightly around the injection barrel.
a 55-gallon blue plastic drum filled with the coolant.
A bilge pump from a sunken bass boat, powered by a car battery and a prayer.
A series of whistles glued to the pressure valves that play dueling banjos when the PSI hits 2,000.
Hot hydraulic fluid enters the copper coil.
As the fluid heats the moonshine, the alcohol begins to sing.
If the shop smells like a Saturday night party, the coolant is working.
Vapors rise into a secondary coil, cooled by a box fan taped to a step later.
The condensed spirits drip into a mason jar for retesting by the night shift.
Sizzling too mildly alarming.
In the event of a total meltdown, the coolant is flammable, ensuring the evidence is destroyed before the fire department arrives.
Do not, I repeat, do not use store-bought vodka. It lacks the octane to handle a high-pressure clamp.
If the pipes don't smell like a cornfield, you're gonna seize the screw.
If the whistle stop playing, hit the pump with a brick.
If the coolant turns blue, stop everything and run.
Bill Hamilton biography. If Amer is the soul of the machine, Bill Hamilton is the conscience of the shop. While the others are busy dodging sparks and wrestling molten plastic, Bill is the one standing in the corner, squinting through a cloud of pipe smoke, making sure the whole operation doesn't literally fly off its hinges.
Tech school. He learned chemistry by watching how different brands of motor oil reacted to wood fire and how various plastics melted onto his mother's stovetop. He famously discovered the melt index of a garden hose at the age of 6, a discovery that earned him a lifetime ban from the local hardware store.
The human hydrometer, Bill's greatest gift is his nose. He is a walking laboratory, he can smell moisture content. He knows if the resin is too damp just by the sound it makes hitting the hopper. Polymer type, he can identify the difference between HGP and polypropylene from the paces by the way it burns.
Impending doom, he can smell a failing gasket 3 hours before it actually blows.
In the chaotic hierarchy of Holler dying, Bill serves as the inventory and quality control specialist. His desk is a stack of milk crates and his computer is a yellow legal pad filled with cryptic numbers that only he and Amer can decipher.
He is the only person King Tim Nixon actually listens to, mostly because Bill is the only one who knows where the keys to the forklift are hidden.
The resin alchemist once successfully molded a batch of widgets using 40% recycled fishing nets and 60% ground up cassette tapes.
Hand-filtered 10 tons of contaminated scrap using nothing but a window screen and a shop vac.
Prevented a total shop walkout by promising the crew a pig roast and tastic burn for the 4th of July.
Tastic is like a woman broke in a ditch.
King Tim Nixon biography. If Amer is the soul of the machine and Bill is its conscience, then King Tim Nixon is the shop's audacity. He is the man who looked at a pile of rusted bumpers and a drum of moonshine and said, we're gonna build a global empire, and then actually found a way to do it. The early years, Tim wasn't born into royalty. He took it, legend says, he won his first forklift in a high-stakes game of horseshoes against a traveling circus mechanic. He moved into the Holler with nothing but a toolbox and in 1962 Huster, which he promptly declared his throne. He earned the name King because he's the only man alive who can convince a skeptical rancher to pay $500 for a plastic bollard made out of melted Legos.
The visionary of the scrap pile, while Amer focuses on the gears and Bill focuses on the chemistry. King Tim focuses on the possible. He is a master of strategic acquisition.
His leadership style is 10% management, 90% bravado, and a splash of pure, unadulterated luck.
The monarch of Hollerdyne, as the chief executive and forklift operator of Hollerdyne, King Tim manages the big picture. He handles the negotiations with the neighbors, the bribes for the local deputies, and the motivational speeches that keep Zeke from quitting after his third minor explosion of the week.
The International Extraction successfully exported goods across the creek into the next county, effectively doubling the company's territory.
Commissioned the construction of a seafaring vessel made entirely of bathtubs and denim resin.
The EPA standoff famously stared down a government official while holding a jar of moonshine coolant, causing the man to retreat so fast he left his clipboard behind.
If you act like you own the place, eventually the machines and the tax man will start believing you.
The Hollerdyne annual pig roast and tastic burn is the only day of the year the injection press falls silent. King Tim Nixon has declared that all calories consumed today our company subsidize, and Bill Hamilton has personally inspected the charcoal for moisture content. The Holler got porkjection menu, the main event, the Amer style whole hog. Slow smoke for 22 hours over a fire fueled by hickory stumps and select scraps of grade of pallet wood, bested every hour with Amer's secret hydraulic sauce.
Side disasters, pardon line, potato salad, chunks of potato cut with the same precision as our bathtub moles. Warning, may contain flash that weren't trimmed properly.
Zeke's nylon mac and cheese, extra gooey cheese sauce designed to have the same viscosity as molten polypropylene. It sticks to your ribs and your throat and your plate.
The clogged baked beans, thick, dark, and loaded with molasses. If you can't get them out of the bowl, just hit the bottom of the pot with a rubber mallet.
Breads and spreads, hopper hot cornbread baked in a cast iron skillet, preheated on the barrel of the #1 press, served with gasket grease.
Liquid cool in the bar, the shine chiller punch, a potent blend of Bill's backyard vintage and fruit punch. Safety warning, keep at least 15 feet away from the pig pit, highly flammable.
Creek water tea, sweet enough to seize a piston.
Dessert, the great resin flood pudding, chocolate pudding with marshmallow widgets floating in it.
Served in a recycled one-quart resin bucket.
One, no talking shop after the third jar of punch.
2D1 caught throwing PVC into the fire pit will be escorted out by the god of the machine.
3, if you find a tin Elatima socket in your pork, give it back to him. Mary's been looking for it.
Tim's thank you all speech. King Tim Nixon stands up on a stump, wiping barbecue sauce from his chin with a greasy rag.
He raises a mason jar, shine chiller punches, the fire crackles behind him.
King Tim Nixon hollered, "He!"
Alright, settle down, quit poking the fire, Zeke.
Now look around you, some folks look at this holler and see a scrapyard. Some folks look at us and see a bunch of outlaws with permanent grease under our fingernails. But when I look out at this crowd, past Amer sings eyebrows and Bill's mountain of legal pads, I see the greatest industrial empire this side of the county line.
We've had a hell of a year. We molded a boat out of bathtubs that actually floated. Mostly we ran an international shipment through a goat pasture. We even survived an EPA man without anyone going to jail. And Amer, well, Amer managed to keep the god of the machine from erupting like a volcano for 6 months straight.
We ain't got a board of directors,
We ain't got a stock price,
but we got grit.
We got a way of fixing the world with a hammer and a prayer that the city boys will never understand.
so raise your jars to the plastic, to the pork, and to the finest darn crew of hillbilly makers the world has ever seen.
Now Zeke, quit eating the garnish and grab your banjo, let's play 'em home.
The Hollerdine victory hymn,
Slow, soulful brass that builds to a rowdy stomp.
fire's burning low and the belly's full of hog. The mist is rolling heavy or the creaking or the log.
We spent the day in grease and smoke, toiling in the heat.
But tonight the world is quiet and the victory is sweet.
Oh, the press is cool and silent in the belly of the shed.
And the god of the machine has finally gone to bed.
We molded gold from garbage and we held the line with pride, with King Tim on the forklift for a wild and woolly ride. So toss another hickory stump upon the glowing coals. The rhythm of the shop floor is etched into our souls.
From the nylon hand of Zeke to the shine-cooled copper pipe, we're the kings of every widget and we're living out the hype. Oh, we built a mold so mighty and fine, made it from scrap and a bit of moonshine. Now every plastic part fits just right,
Thanks to the hillbilly mold maker's might.
the international order's gone, the bathtub boat is dry. We're looking toward the future with a twinkle in the eye. So here's to Hollerdine boys, the pride of all the wood. If they say it can't be done, well, we'll show them that it could.
The saga of Hollerdine has reached its peak and the shop's closed for the night. But the legend lives on, Amer is the only man who can hit a seized engine with a frozen ham and have it start purring like a kitten, while everyone else is still looking for the on switch. King Tim's kingdom is the only place on earth where the throne has a 5,000-pound lift capacity, and the royal treasury is just a coffee can full of copper scrap and IOUs written on Arby's napkins. Bill Hamilton can sniff a broken circuit board and tell you which capacitor's feeling shy. then heal the whole machine just by leaning on it and whispering a secret so dirty the gears start turning out of pure embarrassment. Zeke's been trying to build a solar-powered bug zapper out of a satellite dish and some leftover moonshine, but all he's managed to do is give the mosquitoes a tan and make the local raccoons start seeing in Technicolor. King Tim Nixon hops up on the tailgate of the El Camino, clears his throat with a sound like a gravel truck, and settles the crowd for one last word. Now listen up, you grease-stained geniuses. Before we shut the gates and let the fire die down, I gotta say a few words to the best crew of misfits this holler has ever seen. Amer, I thank you for keeping the god of the machine from smiting us all. Without your wrenches, we'd just be standing around a pile of cold iron looking foolish. Bill Hamilton, I thank you for your nose and your wisdom. You're the only man I know who can find the truth in a bucket of sludge and keep our plastic from smelling worse than Zeke's socks. And Zeke, well, I thank you for being the bravest test pilot. We got that new plastic hand of yours as a beacon of progress for us all. To the rest of you, the welders, the haulers, and the moonshine runners, you're the heartbeat of this whole operation. We took a world of scrap and turned it into a kingdom, so go home, get some sleep, and try not to dream about injection cycles. We'll see you at sunrise to start the next parade. Now get out of here before I start charging your rent for the air you're breathing.
The moon hangs high o'er the jagged roof of the Holler's pride and the hillbilly proof. The steam has settled, the gears are still in the quiet shop at the base of the hill. The god of the machine is a silent hunk. Amer's tools are stowed in his heavy trunk. Bill's legal pads are stacked with care, while the smell of resin still haunts the air.
King Tim's forklift is parked in the bay, the throne of the man who led the way. And Zeke is home with his glowing hand, the strangest maker in all the land.
No more hissing, no more sparks, just the sound of crickets in the dark. The scrap is gold, the dream is deep, the holler dine has gone to sleep.
Around here we don't believe in the end,
Just a longer cooling cycle before the next big blow.
well, I reckon I gotta tip my hat and say
Thank you kindly for your time and
all that hard work you done. Y'all went above and beyond like a rooster at dawn, making sure everything was just right. It's as rare as hen's teeth to find folks who work with such grit and gumption. And I'm mighty grateful for every minute you spent fussing over that project. Y'all ain't just fixing machinery, you're fixing the whole dang day.
And that's something special if ever you need a cup of sweet tea, a tune to hum, or just a good old thank you from a hillbilly who appreciates true grit. Don't hesitate to holler. You got a heart as big as the county fair, and I'm proud as punch to know folks like you.
So from the bottom of my hillbilly heart,
thank you for your time, for your effort, and for being downright awesome.
y'all are as dependable as a farm dog and as appreciated as a fresh pie on Sunday. God bless you. And may your days be as smooth as a well-oiled tractor.
Well, we built us a mold so mighty and bright from scrap and moonshine. We done it up right, made it fit on a car like a glove in the rain. Hillbilly style, we done broke the domain. Hey, cock-a-doodle-doo, y'all know how we do.
molding and fixing with a grin and a cheer. Hillbilly heroes, the best of the year.
From tractor parts to a wash machine's motor, Bill's got a nose that's sharper than a plow in a plowder. Tim's got a dream and a jar of moonshine. Together they make that injection work fine.
Hey, cock-a-doodle-doo, y'all know how we do, turning junk into something brand new. Hillbilly magic through and through.
Yodel high, cock-a-doodle-doo, laugh and sing, we got nothing to lose. Fix it fast and make it last, hillbilly craft unsurpassed.
So raise your jars and stomp your boots, we done it hillbilly style, no ifs, ands, or buts.
Yodel-ay-hoo, cock-a-doodle-doo, that's the way we roll, proud and true.
Hillbilly crew, molding, fixing, laughing too. Thanks for listening. Y'all come back, you hear?
Well, now, Trigger, here's another story about Hillbilly Scrap Holler for Injection Molding and Mayhem Inc., and how they took on the wildest, craziest job this side of Mexico, building molds for General Motors all the way down in Ramos, Mexico. Yes, sirree. Them hillbilly boys didn't just dip their toes. They jumped right into the deep end, and I'll tell you, it was a hoot and a holler from start to finish. Now picture this, them hillbilly masterminds, Tim Nixon, Bill Hamilton, Zeke, and Amer decide to expand their empire across the border. They're gonna open a brand new plant in Mexico to build and fix injection molds, but let me tell you, Trigger, that move was crazier than a chicken at a Fox convention. First off, Mexico ain't exactly known for its skilled mold makers. None of them local folks had a lick of experience with fancy injection molds. They faced a shortage of skilled labor, supply chain chaos, and even a little bit of crime and local governance issues. It was like trying to fix a tractor with a spoon. So Bill, being the master tooling expert, gets sent down there. His job was to build them molds from scratch and teach the locals how to do it proper. He was like a hillbilly wizard with a hammer and a dream. They had to build fascia brackets for GM parts that had to fit like they were made by angels. Well, angels with a whole lot of scrap metal and moonshine anyway. Now the construction of them first few molds, Trigger, it was nuttier than a squirrel's nut stash. They used old tractor parts, busted washing machines, and even a discarded plow. Anything that looked like it might hold a shape. Bill and Tim, with their hillbilly skills, worked day and night, welding, whacking, and improvising. They'd look at that thing and say, well, that ought to do it, and sure enough it did. Even with supply shortages, they made molds so slick they'd make a city boy's head spin.
But here's the kicker, Mexico don't have no skilled mold builders like we do.
So they had to improvise, teach and outsmart the challenge. Bill would stare at a rough casting, scratch his head, and then whittle on it with a pocket knife, while Tim hollered, yup, that'll fit just fine. Meanwhile, Amer was on the phone with GM telling them, don't worry none, we got this. And Zeke, well, he was busy programming the CNC with his plastic gloved hand, making sure every part was perfect. And Trigger, the crazy part, they pulled it off them molds, built from scrap and hillbilly grit, worked better than a brand new Cadillac. The fascia brackets fit like they'd been forged by angels, and the parts for the GMP plant, they kept flowing for 5 whole years, longer than most marriages. GM couldn't believe how well them hillbillies did, especially in a country where skilled labor was thin on the ground. So I reckon that story's got a tune to it, Trigger, one that'll make your toes tap and your heart swell.
Oh, we crossed the border with scrap in hand, built us some molds in a foreign land. From tractor parts and broken tools, hillbilly breaking all the rules.
In Mexico, where they don't know our name, we built them molds that rose to fame. With a hammer, a welder, and moonshine brew, we showed them hillbilly ways are true.
And that trigger is how Hillbilly Scrap Holler took on Mexico, turned chaos into craft, and proved once again that a little hillbilly know-how can conquer any crazy challenge that comes their way.
Now y'all just sit back, take a sip of that moonshine, and remember, where there's scrap, there's a way.
Across the border with scrap in hand, built us some molds in a foreign land. From tractor parts and busted tools, hillbilly skills breaking all the rules. We showed up with a trailer full of junk, a busted fan, a rusty old trunk. With a hammer, a wrench, and moonshine brew, we made them think the hillbillies are true. In Mexico, where they don't know our name, we built them molds that rose to fame. With old plows, a broken hoe, and a prayer to the moon. Yep, that's how we grow. We welded with chicken wire and duct tape. The boss just grinned and said, that's no mistake. We turned a washing machine into a mold and made a plastic part that's worth its gold.
We used a donkey saddle for the mold's core and a jalapeno for the hot parts roar. We turned a beer can into a sprue and told them that's how hillbillies do.
We got a tractor tire for the base and a busted barbecue for the mold's face. With a dash of moonshine on the side, we built a mold that's full of pride. In Mexico, they said that's pure crazy, but we just laughed and got real hazy. Cause when the mold was done, oh boy, it worked so good it brought them joy. We built them a shape that would make heads spin, with a hillbilly grin and a crooked grin. We showed them how to craft and bend and make a plastic part that's the best in the land, my friend.
Now every time they see our junk, they say that hillbilly's got some funk. From tractor bits to moonshine jars, hillbilly skills are taking us far.
And just to keep it going, here's a little extra verse to keep the fun rolling. We had a pig in the yard squealing loud, used his snout to shape the mold in the crowd. He snorted and snuffed, then gave a wink. That's hillbilly magic, more than you think. Trigger, that's a song that'll make folks laugh till they cry, filled with hillbilly ingenuity and mischief. Feel free to sing it loud and proud. They'll never forget how hillbillies build, sneak, and party.
Trigger, sit yourself down and let me spin you a tale about how Hillbilly Scrap Holler for injection molding and mayhem. It pulled off one of the craziest stunts in product development history, shipping good parts, faking bad ones, and sneaking them past the GM quality folks, all in a day's work for them hillbilly heroes. So there's Amer, our fearless hillbilly mastermind, flying all the way from Hillbillyville, mashed potatoes, gravy, and steak in his belly, to Mexico to oversee the first shipment of parts for the big pre-production build event called the Pre-Production Validation Test PVT build event. Now Trigger Amer's a man who loves his steak and potatoes, almost as much as he loves a good hillbilly fix-it plan. But he had to leave it all behind for tamales, tacos, and jalapeno sauces, hotter than a firecracker. Once Amer landed in the GM plant in Mexico, he was greeted by none other than Jesus, the quality manager, who looked like he just sucked on a lemon the size of a watermelon. Jesus called Amer into his office, where he held up a box of parts from Hillbilly Scrap Holler. His face was as long as a country mile, and he said, "Amer, it can't be that bad in your facility. Your people ship this junk to my plant, all short-shot injection molded parts." Amer's eyes widened like he'd just seen a ghost. He looked at the box, then at Jesus, and swore on his mother's gravy and mashed potatoes. "I swear, Jesus, I placed good parts in this box before we shipped it. I don't know how this happened, but I swear on my mama's best quilt." Now Trigger, here's where the hillbilly ingenuity kicked in. Amer, with a supplicative, almost pitiful tone, told Jesus, "Sir, I got parts at my hotel, big old bags of them. If you'd let me out the back door, I could sneak them into your plant, and we could start the build event like nothing ever happened. Nobody'll be none the wiser, and we'll have this show on the road." Jesus, who was as skeptical as a raccoon in a hen house, looked Amer up and down, then nodded, "All right, Amer, but if I catch you pulling a fast one, I'll personally throw you out on your backside, so you better be telling the truth." And with that, Amer and Jesus tiptoed past the security, sneaking the good parts into the GM plant like a couple of hillbilly bandits on a midnight raid. The pre-production build, Trigger, it was a barn burner. Them good parts fit the car like a glove. No short shots, no missing pieces, just pure hillbilly magic. Amer's parts, with a little kick and some of that hillbilly finesse, got the thumbs up from the engineers. Even the fingernails from Amer's parts, the ones that looked like they'd been whittled out of hickory log, were approved faster than you can say moonshine mash. And Trigger, the craziest part, as the build wrapped up and everyone was hollering and cheering, Amer, smiling as wide as the Mississippi, leaned over to Jesus and whispered, "Now, partner, I got a little surprise for you." Suddenly, Amer reached into his pocket and pulled out a shiny hand-carved hillbilly-made metal, engraved with a pig, a wrench, and a moonshine jar. "This," he said, "is the Master of Sneaking and Scheming Award, and I reckon it's about time I give it to someone who's been mighty helpful today."
Hey, so surprised as a hog in a hen house, laughed so hard he nearly fell out of his chair. Amer, he said, "You hillbilly sure know how to make trouble and turn it into a victory. I never seen anything like it. You sneaked in good parts, played the game, and still came out on top."
And Trigger, here's the kicker. Just as the event wrapped up, Amer took Jesus out to the finest steakhouse in town, where they ate so much steak and drank so much jalapeno sauce that they both swore they'd never see another spicy pepper in their lives. Then they hit the biggest strip club in town, where the dancers were as wild as a pack of mountain dogs. And Amer, with his hillbilly charm, danced a jig on the bar, sing a tune about how he outsmarted GM's quality team. So Trigger, that's how Hillbilly Scrap Holler 4 injection molding and Mayhem Inc. didn't just get away with the craziest sneaky shipment in product history. They threw a party that'd make the devil blush, and to this day folks still tell tales about Amer, Jesus, and the day they turned a short-shot disaster into hillbilly legend. Now grab a jar of moonshine and I'll leave you with a song.
We ship the bad but sneak the good hillbilly tricks in a neighborhood. Parts that fit with kick and flair, made GM proud without a care.
And Trigger, that's how a hillbilly hero's done it, by outsmarting them, outplaying them, and celebrating like the kings of the scrap yard.
Now grab a jar of moonshine and I'll leave you with a song. We shipped the bad but sneak the good hillbilly tricks in a neighborhood. Parts that fit with kick and flair made GM proud without a care. And Trigger, that's how a hillbilly hero's done it, by outsmarting them, outplaying them, and celebrating like the kings of the scrapyard. We ship the bad but sneak the good hillbilly tricks in a neighborhood. Parts that fit with kick and flair made GM proud without a care. We told them it's all top secret gear, but really it's just last year's gear with a little hillbilly bend and twist. We made those parts go bang and twist. We hid the good in Amer's hotel where he accidentally dropped a shell. Then ASOS found them in the back and said, "Well, what's this? Some kind of hack?"
We said it's special, mighty rare, made from moonshine, dirt, and prayer. And Jesus just shook his head, thought we'd sent some junk instead.
We told them parts are fresh and new, just like they roll off a Mountain Dew. They fit like a glove, ride like a dream, even better than a chicken's meat.
We had 'em fooled from floor to roof, while secretly we hid the proof in Amer's hotel behind the door, were the good parts plus some more.
The build was smooth, the parts aligned, even Hillbilly Zeke was surprised. He said them parts fit like a charm, like a pig in mud, they caused no harm.
We danced and hollered cause we knew the build was perfect and it was true. We snuck 'em past the GM crew while they thought we was just kinda new.
Now when GM's folks looked inside, they just scratched their head and sighed, cause what they thought was junk and trash was hillbilly magic full of sass.
So here's a toast to tricks and schemes, to hillbilly dreams and moonshine dreams. We shipped the bad but sneaked the best and outsmarted all the GM pests.
Yeehaw, we're the masters of disguise, hillbilly heroes to no surprise. Made them believe what they could not see and topped that build with hillbilly glee. Hey there, Trigger, feel free to hum real loud. Let that melody echo through the whole dang crowd. It's a tune so wild it'll make the GM engineers stare, wondering how hillbillies do it with just a smile and flair.
Oh, sing it loud, sing it proud, let that hillbilly style roll, with a twang in your voice and a heart of gold. Shake those boots, do the jig, let the good times unfold. Trigger's song, it's a legend worth more than gold.
Strum that banjo, tap that old washboard drum. Turn up the volume, make the whole town hum. With a laugh and a grin, they're just doing their thing. Hillbilly magic makes the bells of joy ring.
Oh, sing it loud, sing it proud, let the hillbilly style roll, with a twang in your voice and a heart of gold. Shake those boots, do the jig, let the good times unfold. Trigger's song, it's a legend worth more than gold. From the hollers to the city lights, that hillbilly spirit ignites. With a little bit of sass and a whole lot of fun, we're just getting started, y'all, the song's just begun.
So hum it loud, be loud and proud. Trigger's song will make the world spin around. With a smile and a little hillbilly style, we'll be singing this song for a long time.
Hey there, Trigger, feel free to hum real loud. Let that melody echo through the whole dang crowd. It's a tune so wild it'll make the GM engineers stare, wondering how hillbillies do it with just a smile and flair.
Oh, sing it loud, sing it proud, let the hillbilly style roll, with a twang in your voice and a heart of gold. Shake those boots, do the jig, let the good times unfold. Trigger's song, it's a legend worth more than gold.
Strum that banjo, tap that old washboard drum. Turn up the volume, make the whole town hum. With a laugh and a grin, they're just doing their thing. Hillbilly magic makes the bells of joy ring.
Oh, sing it loud, sing it proud, let that hillbilly style roll, with a twang in your voice and a heart of gold. Shake those boots, do the jig, let the good times unfold. Trigger song, it's a legend worth more than gold.
From the hollers to the city lights, that hillbilly spirit ignites. With a little bit of sass and a whole lot of fun, we're just getting started, y'all, this song's just begun.
So hum it loud, be loud and proud. Trigger song will make the world spin around. With a smile and a little hillbilly style, we'll be singing this song for a long, long
Hey there, Trigger, feel free to hum real loud. Let that melody echo through the whole dang crowd. It's a tune so wild it'll make the GM engineer stare, wondering how hillbillies do it with just a smile and flair. Oh, sing it loud, sing it proud, let that hillbilly style roll, with a twang in your voice and a heart of gold. Shake those boots, do the jig, let the good times unfold. Trigger song, it's a legend worth more than gold.
Strum that banjo, tap that old washboard drum. Turn up the volume, make the whole town hum. With a laugh and a grin, they're just doing their thing. Hillbilly magic makes the bells of joy ring.
Oh, sing it loud, sing it proud, let that hillbilly style roll, with a twang in your voice and a heart of gold. Shake those boots, do the jig, let the good times unfold. Trigger song, it's a legend worth more than gold.
From the hollers to the city lights, that hillbilly spirit ignites. With a little sass and a whole lot of fun, we're just getting started, y'all, the song's just begun.
So hum it loud, be loud and proud. Trigger song will make the world spin around. With a smile and a little hillbilly style, we'll be singing this song for a long